Most people have heard of Pokemon, and most people also refer to Pokemon as a game for kids. Today, I'm going to be making this game for kids incredibly hard by turning it into a hardcore Nuzlocke. And you may be asking, what's a hardcore Nuzlocke? Well, let me tell you. A hardcore Nuzlocke is a challenge difficulty of a Pokemon run. In a hardcore Nuzlocke, you're only allowed to catch the first Pokemon per route. If a Pokemon faints, it's dead. You can't use items in battle, you must play on set mode, and your level can't be higher than the gym leader's highest Pokemon. An additional rule I'm adding for myself is to not have any more Pokemon than the gym leader has. With that being said, let's get started. To start our journey, we pick Bulbasaur and we name him Onion. Me and Onion take on the rival. Now this fight is a very easy fight and it also doesn't really count. But Onion and Charmander trade tackles and scratches until finally one of them succumbs to the damage. Thankfully, Onion is way stronger than Charmander. After this fight, we get our first encounter in Pidgey on Route 1, who we name Nuggets, Rattata on Route 22, who we name Saltine, Caterpie on Route 2, who we name Trolley, and finally Pikachu in Viridian Forest, who we name Potato. I must have been hungry while making this, because all these are food themed. Following encountering Pikachu, we go encounter Brock. Now Brock is a very, very hard trainer. I don't know how we're going to be able to... Oh, Onion swept. Well, perfect. Thanks, Onion. After beating Brock, we catch a Nidoran on Route 3 that we named Stew, a Geodude in Mount Moon that we named Rock Candy, Bulbasaur evolves into Ivysaur, and we catch a Spearow on Route 4 that we named Tenders. After getting all of our encounters, we have our first official battle with our rival, and this fight is a piece of cake. We send Rock Candy out, and we practically sweep his entire team with a combination of rock throws and magnitudes. This is exactly why I say that Rock Candy, or Geodude for that matter, is super overpowered in the beginning. The Rock Ground type combo is almost unbeatable, and the only trainer who's going to give you any real problems in the beginning of the game is Misty. But if you bring a Geodude to fight Misty, you don't deserve to have that Geodude anymore. After we take out Pidgeotto and Charmander with Geodude, we'll swap in Ivysaur to take out the Abra, and we'll take out the Rattata with Ivysaur as well. Quite honestly, I don't remember why I did this, but I think it might have been just to get some levels on him so we could take out the gym a little bit easier. Speaking of the gym, it's time to fight Misty. We lead with Onion, and we pretty much sweep this entire gym with Onion. Like I said before, Bulbasaur was such a great pick in Gen 1 because you get a free sweep on both the first and second gym. After this fight, we catch a Weedle, an Oddish, a Meowth, a Magikarp, a Diglett, and a Drowsy. All these encounters are honestly pretty important, as you'll see later on in the run. Following these encounters, we take on the rival in the SS Anne. We put Geodude in because we're switch training Rattata, one-shot Pidgeotto, take on Charmeleon, and have a little bit of a scare as we miss a couple of rock throws. But after those connect, we switch in Pidgeotto to try to take on Kadabra, and a confusion hits us harder than I expected. Nectar comes in, we put a Hypnosis on Kadabra, and switch in Ivysaur. Ivysaur takes it out with a couple of Razor Leaves, and then comes in Raticate, who we also take out with a couple of Razor Leaves. This fight is really a joke to me, but some people do struggle because of Raticate. Following that fight, we take on Lieutenant Surge with Rock Candy, and we magnitude sweep his entire team. If you might have noticed that I did have 4 Pokemon on this one of those Pokemon was mainly 4 cut, so it didn't really count, but following the rest of the run, I do follow the rule a lot better. After that, we catch an Ekans we named Nerdsrope, a Voltorb we named Gumball, and a Mankey we named Donut. Mankey wasn't the only thing we caught in this cave, as we caught our first death as well. A wild Geodude takes out Nectar, as I assumed that Confusion would have one-shot. Sadly, it didn't. To ease the pain of losing Nectar, we catch a Growlithe that we named Hot Dog, pick up an Eevee that we named Bagel, and almost immediately evolve Bagel into Vaporeon purely for stats, no other reason. One of the hardest fights in this run, even though it's one of the easiest in the game, was the Erica fight, and I think it was all because of poor planning. Beforehand, I should have evolved Growlithe into Arcanine, but I was too concerned about getting Flamethrower. I now realize I could have just bought it from the game corner. We do take out Victory Bell pretty seamlessly, but Tangela is when we start seeing the flaw in our plan. A combination of a Constrict, Ingrain, and a Hyper Potion put Nugget down pretty far, and we can't heal ourselves. But Nugget still takes it out with a couple quick attacks and wing attacks. This does lead into the death of the next Pokemon, which is Lettuce. I want to save switch into Growlithe, so I sacrifice Lettuce, put Growlithe in, and take out Vileplume with a couple of Embers. Next time, I will play this a lot smarter. After this, we take out every trainer in the Rocket Hideout, and then we go on to face one of the other bigger challenges of this part of the game. Now this fight should be pretty simple because we have Vaporeon, but me thinking Vaporeon was a lot stronger than it was, goes for a quick attack to kill Kangaskhan and ends up killing Vaporeon instead. Look how much HP is left. Pretty much one, but it's okay. We send in Nugget and land one last quick attack to take out the Kangaskhan and defeat Giovanni. Following the Giovanni fight, we take on the rival in Pokemon Tower. Taking out his first two Pokemon with Rock Slides respectively, he comes in with Execute, who we switch into Nugget for. Nugget is going to hopefully do some good damage, but after getting hit with Hypnosis, we decide to switch into Ivysaur, who gets hit with Confusion on the switch and put to sleep on the very next turn. After this, I decide it's time to switch into Hot Dog, and Hot Dog does good enough to take out Execute, as well as takes out Kadabra. We have really nothing prepared for this Gyarados, so I switch in a Nugget to tank whatever attack comes next, and luckily it's Thrash. Since it's locked into Thrash, we just take it out with a Rock Slide. We catch a Ghastly that we name Fart in the Pokemon Tower, and train it up in the tower to evolve it into a Haunter. After we save Mr. Fuji from the Pokemon Tower, we get the Pokeflute and go catch our Snorlax. Snorlax is pretty good, but I wish I kind of used him on this attempt, and you'll see why later on. However, we do catch the Snorlax and we name it Marshmallow. This death you're about to see went by very fast for you and I, because I switched Dot in on a Sludge and it died. But we'll move forward. However, Dot's death wasn't the only one. We got to Koga, and I skipped most of the battle because we get to his Muck, he minimized spams, and Acid Armor spams, and sweeps my entire team. That's right. I thought I was going to have a clean sweep of this gym with my team, but I wasn't, and I think it's karma for me coming in with a full team. So, we lost the first run to a stupid, spamming Muck. And if you thought attempt 1 was bad, well, here's attempt 2. Yep, getting swept by random Pokemon. Now, for this attempt and other attempts, I'll skip most encounters and most of the parts that we'd already gone through. However, we'll go right to Koga's gym, and I get my sweet revenge on this stupid poison type using moron. Dream Eater on Haunter was honestly the play. As we take out his Muck, we go through and destroy the rest of his team with a combination of Shadow Punches and Dream Eaters. So we take our victory against the person who took it away from us the last run. Sadly, the person I was going to use to sweep Sabrina dies in a double battle. And here's an overview of my team. Brussels the Magneton, Lettuce the Vileplume, Wing the Pidgeot, Warhead the Venomoth, Salmon the Gyarados, and Hot Dog the Arcanine. If you saw that Venonat die in the edit, that is indeed what happened, but I got a reroll encounter and just didn't use the species clause for one encounter. Now, we fight the rival in Sylph Tower. I take out Pidgeot easily and assume that Brussels could outspeed Charizard, but it doesn't, which is fine. We swap in Salmon to take out Charizard with a Water Pulse and a Surf, though we do suffer a burn. After that, he comes in Execute, so we decide to send in Warhead, who is actually pretty decent. Its combination of Bug-type moves and special attack stat makes it pretty strong against most opponents. We see the Alakazam come in, and I go in with Wing, knowing Alakazam has low defense, and take it out with a Quick Attack and Wing Attack respectively. We don't really have a counter to Gyarados anymore, as our Brussels has been taken out, so we're kind of stuck right now. However, I decide to switch into Lettuce and hit a couple of Giga Drains on Gyarados to weaken it. Gyarados does possess the ability, not the ability, but the move, Dragon Rage, which always does 40 damage, and it's pretty OP, especially in the first half of the game. But, knowing that another bite's going to probably come out, I decide to switch into Arcanine, who takes the bite and bites Gyarados back for the win. Now we take on Giovanni. Giovanni is actually a pretty easy fight in Sylph Tower in my opinion, especially if you have a Water type and or Psychic type on your team. We take out the first two Pokemon on his team with Warhead, and then we swap into Lettuce for Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan has been known to take out many teams before because of its power, but we set up a Poison Powder on Kangaskhan and start taking it down with a couple of Giga Drains. After we get rid of the Kangaskhan, we see Nidorino is coming in, so we decide to switch into Gyarados to finish it off with a Surf, therefore giving us the win against Giovanni. Now we take on Sabrina. Using solely Arcanine, even though I brought an entire team to take on Sabrina, we pretty much just sweep the entire fight pretty seamlessly. A combination of Bite and Flamethrower shows us that Arcanine is the boss, and that absolutely nothing in the Pokemon world is going to take out Arcanine. I was doing math right here to see if Psychic would kill, and guess what? It doesn't. Arcanine is rock proof, waterproof, bulletproof. I would even go as far as say as he's So for some reason, I decided to only bring 2 Pokemon into the Pokemon Tower, which resulted in the death of my Arcanine, which was a very stupid play by me. But we come back from this. Blaine was a complete joke. Setting up a rain dance on his Growlithe, I sweep his entire team with Surfs from Gyarados. This is why a lot of people ban Gyarados, and usually I do too, but honestly, I thought this would be my key to victory and I would win with Gyarados. And Gyarados does pull through yet again. We take on the 8th gym leader with Gyarados, pretty much purely alone, even though we do have a team. And this kind of just highlights to show that Giovanni is really nothing without his Kangaskhan. Setting up Rain, we sweep the entire team with Surfs and Hydro Pumps, and I wasn't even fully at the level cap this battle, which really goes to show how strong Gyarados really is. We take out the rest of his team and have no issues moving forward from this fight. Our next fight is against the rival right before Victory Road. And we have an adjusted team, but it's really just an addition of Fry, the Raichu. We take out Pidgeot with a Thunderbolt, we swap into Salmon to take out Rhyhorn with a Surf, and we also take out Execute with a couple of bites, which was pretty easy. In comes Alakazam, and we proceed to keep Salmon in to use a combination of Bite and Surf to take him out, and here comes Gyarados. Gyarados is scary, but Hitmonchan's a little bit scarier. We take a Hydro Pump, and it deals hardly any damage to our Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan will return with a couple of Thunder Punches, which makes this Pokemon very viable. See, it has a lot of coverage in its punch moves, and you can cover pretty much any typing, but don't leave it out against flying types, or it'll get cooked. So after this, we send in Wing to take on the Charizard. I don't know what my exact mindset was here, but I just decided that I think Pidgeot would be the best counter to a Flamethrower. And I wouldn't say I was wrong, but I definitely wasn't right. After we take a pretty hard Flamethrower, I kind of realized that Gyarados could definitely take a Flamethrower at 72 HP, so we send it in to take on the Charizard, lower its attack with Intimidate, and hit a Hydro Pump. Now, I'm doing the math, and I know that more than likely, Charizard could probably kill us with any attack, but he uses Scary Face for some reason, and after that Scary Face and another Flamethrower, we take him out with 12 HP left. Now, we make it through Victory Road, and I would like to preface that I think it was 3 a.m. when I did this fight, and I was trying to get a little hyped up, so I put on some tunes to get hyped up. Obviously, I don't think the hype really worked for me, and you'll see as we go through this. Starting with Lorelei, we send out Raichu to sweep the entire team, and sweep it does. Thunderbolt one-shots every single Pokemon on her team except for her Jinx, which becomes a little bit of a problem for us. And Jinx has always been a problem for me because Ice types kind of scare me, and for some reason I feel like they all have Hydro Cannon, but they really don't. So we keep Fry in to land one good Thunderbolt on them, and we put Warhead in to finish the Jinx off with a Leech Life. Because Jinx is a Psychic and Ice type, Leech Life will be super effective, and that gives us the win without a single death. Our next fight is against Bruno, who is honestly pretty easy. We start off with a Rain Dance with Gyarados and use Surf to take out his first 2 Pokemon pretty easily. So, I assume the rest of this fight should be pretty easy, right? Gyarados is a Flying type, and I am wrong. That Flying type actually comes to bite me in the butt. Since I've been slowed down so much by Rock Tomb, even though I thought I was going to be faster than Machamp for some reason, he takes me out with another Rock Tomb, and I cry myself to sleep all night long. But it's okay. Warhead comes in, and even though Warhead is weak to that, we still take out Machamp with a Psybeam, take out Hitmonlee with the combination of Psybeams and Psychics, and go on to the Onix, who I decide to swap out Knuckle Sandwich for. And Knuckle Sandwich will finally show his strength by using an Ice Punch to take out Onix. Our next fight is against Agatha, who in all honesty is pretty easy. Venomoth comes in and practically sweeps the first half of her team with Psybeams and Psychics until we get to this one pesky Gengar. Now Gengar heals up good enough for my next attack to not kill and puts Hypnosis and Nightmare on my Warhead. Me, with the infinite wisdom I have, switches in Haunter on a Shadow Ball, but I also switch in Pidgeot on a Shadow Ball, which resists the Shadow Ball entirely, leading into the Arbok, who we take out with Pidgeot, giving us another victory over another Elite Four member. Now it's time to take on Lance, the 4th Elite Four member. Without Gyarados, I have no real counter for Dragon types because I taught it Ice Beam, but I have Ice Punch, so I'm not good. My entire team is about to get slowly destroyed by Lance. Just watch. As much as that hurt me to do, watch, edit, record, all of it, I knew I would come back. So, even though we lost attempt 2, it's time for me to come back and win attempt 4. Oh, attempt 3? Oh, you want to see attempt 3? Okay, let me show you attempt 3. And attempt 4.
You could be right. You're so right!
And crash out we did. So after using rare candies and taking out every leader, every Elite Four member, every single part of the story deathless, it's finally time we take on the rival for the title of champion. Starting the fight off, he leads out with Pidgeot and I lead out with Cookie. We hit it with 2 shockwaves and take out the Pidgeot. After Pidgeot goes down, out comes Rhydon, and knowing that he'll go for an Earthquake, I'll send in Sushi. Sushi will resist the Earthquake entirely and go for a one-shot with Hydro Pump on the Rhydon. After Rhydon, we have to take on Alakazam. I decided to keep Sushi in because he has Bite and Hydro Pump, which can deal pretty decent damage. However, I'm starting to get a little worried as Sushi's HP gets pretty low. I decided to send Cookie in because I know Cookie has Pin Missile and some other strong moves. But we'll lead with the Thunder and luckily get a Paralysis. However, it's kind of unlucky because Alakazam has Synchronize. Synchronize paralyzes Cookie, and this comes into play later on. Since Alakazam is no longer paralyzed, we're kind of in a pretty tough situation as we're in a one-sided battle, but I think I can take it out. But I get stuck in paralysis and he takes out my Cookie. Poor Cookie, you did great. We'll send in Hot Dog to one-shot Alakazam with Bite, and after this we'll take on the Gyarados. With no true answer to Gyarados on my team, I decide it's time to send in Turnip. As Turnip does have Leech Seed and Poison Powder, I can set up on Gyarados and heal as well as deal passive damage without having to risk any misses or worrying about any sort of kind of status affliction. We go back and forth with Razor Leaf and Dragon Rage until finally the rival hits him with a full restore. I decide it's time to hit a Poison Powder, and to my surprise the rival swaps in Charizard, who gets hit with the Poison Powder, which is perfect for me. Now it's time to do another swap in. I know Fire Blast is coming, so I check Hot Dog's ability and lo and behold he has Flash Fire. I send Hot Dog in and he tanks the Fire Blast, and we go in with extreme speed to hit the Charizard for some pretty decent damage. We trade blows back and forth as I go for a bite and Poison keeps ticking away, and I decide extreme speed will take out the Charizard, and it does. After Charizard, we're back to Gyarados, who I still really have no answer to. I send in Turnip and get caught on a Thrash, which scares me a little bit. I thought Stu had Poison Point, but I believe he does not. So he's stuck in confusion, and I try to go for blizzard because I think it'll kill, and we get stuck in a confusion and blizzard off where nothing happens. I go for a rock slide where if I had just done this originally, we would still have Stu on the team, but it's okay. We come in with Turkey, he hits a full restore on Gyarados, and we just spam aerial ace and fly till we can get Gyarados low enough for the kill. This part of the fight was pretty concerning, but we made it out. Now we're on the very last Pokemon of the rivals team. I gotta win, and I do. Pidgeot 2-shots Executor with aerial ace, and we take the victory. That's right, 5 attempts, countless deaths, and I had to use rare candies, but we won. Thank you to everyone who watched the streams and is watching the video. I put a lot of effort into this, and if you can see over time, my overlay changed, and a lot of things on the stream changed because I just started streaming. But everything I do is provided by me. My overlays, my editing, everything is done by me. So if you guys could, just leave a like, and if you don't mind checking out my Twitch, I stream kind of later at night, and sometimes in the morning. It just kind of varies depending on what I have to do. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and there will be more videos to come. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys later.